Hey, everybody, it's Gray again. It's another edition of Unbreakable, the podcast. It is Thursday, January 22nd. We're getting through it. We're getting through January. Big snowstorm coming up this weekend, 6 to 10 inches. You know, it's like we haven't had a big snowstorm like this in a long, long time. And I'm ready for it. We are catching up. The last few winters, it's been pretty good, pretty mild. But we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it this weekend. Rather have the snow than the ice. The ice is the worst. Ah, you don't want to drive through it. You don't want to walk on it. And the ice is wicked. Ah, so it is what it is. We'll get through the snow. And then springtime is on the horizon. Spring trading is only a few weeks away. Speaking of which, do I really want spring trading to come? These Phillies, what the hell? You know, I, let's get right to it, okay? Okay. I mean, I came on this morning, really the bitch. This is going to be a mega bitch session this morning. Yes, because the Phillies, what the hell are they doing? The last time I saw you was last week, and it was right after Bo Bichette, that traitor, he signed with the New York Mets. And, it's really surprised the hell out of us because we thought he was ready to sign on the dotted line with the Phillies. Well, he signed with the Mets, which is pretty bad in itself. The Mets stink. And of course, the Mets are our rivals. You don't want to see that happen. But since then, so much has happened. Oh, Jesus. Well, first of all, you got Bo Bichette going there. He's putting his Mets uniform on. And he's like, oh, well, I always thought I was going to be a Met anyway. This is a dream come true. I always wanted to be a Met. Really? Really? Well, then what the hell, jackass? Why did you have a Zoom meeting with the Phillies then? You always thought you were going to be a Met by ass. And, I blame the Phillies for this whole thing, too. If the Phillies were really interested in Bo Bichette, why didn't they get their asses in gear and get on a plane and go down to Tampa or wherever Bo Bichette was and don't leave until you sign on the dotted line? The Phillies should have been like a bad house guest. Like they're there like until after midnight, and you're like, oh, I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta get. You don't want to say get the hell out, leave already, but you're like, I gotta get up in the morning. I got a meeting in the morning. I gotta get up. Oh boy, could I use some sleep? Oh my God, am I tired? Oh Jesus. And you're practically pushing them at the door. Well, that's what the Phillies should have did. Dave Dombrowski should have got on a plane with John Middleton and all whoever else is going to go down there and just camp out in Bo Bichette's living room and say, we ain't leaving until you sign on the dotted. But no, they didn't do that. The Phillies went cheap. They had a Zoom meeting instead. Zoom meeting. Well, I can't say anything now because I'm on Zoom right now, too. So anyway, Zoom is the greatest. Zoom is the greatest. I just want it to be known right now that Zoom is the best. I love Zoom. Anyway, but really, seriously, the Phillies, if they were interested in Bo Bichette, they should have gone down there and had the meeting face to face with the man. Don't do any of this online stuff. Go down there. Go down there. And they didn't do it. So which leads me to believe that the Phillies were either half-heartedly interested, like they weren't really interested. They were just like, okay, if we sign them, we sign them. If not, then we not. We got a good team. I mean, look at when the Phillies signed Bryce Harper. They were there. Remember that? They were there. They were in Vegas every single day. They were pounding on his door. Bryce Harper, sign, Bryce Harper. Yeah, they were like they were having snacks in the living room, passing around the Cheez-Its or whatever they were eating. And they wanted Bryce Harper. They weren't gonna leave without him. Well, Bo Bichette was like, yeah, we don't really have to go down. It would be nice, but yeah, we're not that crazy. But we could tell the gullible fans, hey, we tried to get Bo Bichette. He didn't want to sign with us. We tried. That, that, no. I think this Phillies front office takes us, the fans, for granted. It's like, well, the fans will be there. They're always going to be there. They're going to fill up Citizens Bank Park. And guess what? We have an All-Star game coming summer. Frankie, the All-Star game. Well, you know what's going to happen? The global fans, our loyal fans, they're going to buy all the All-Star gear, the hats, and the T-shirts, and the hoodies, and they're going to buy all that merch. Meanwhile, they'll be there for all the giveaways that we play the giveaway. Like I saw one yesterday, the Fanatic's birthday. The kids 14 and under are getting what I think is a pretty cool gift. It's a bobblehead, a Fanatic bobblehead. The Fanatics is dressed in colonial garb. He's sitting on top. He's sitting on top of the Liberty Bell. What the hell, right? But I think it's pretty cool. I would get it. If I was down there, I'd say, hey kid, do you really want that? That's stupid. Don't take that. That sucked. Give it to me instead. I would take it. Well, if the Phillies were smart, all these giveaways this year, give them away, and then later on, you sell them at the team store. You're gonna make this a lot of money. That, but who am I? I'm just a peon. I'm not the promotional person down there. Anyway, so the front office takes the fans for granted. Oh, the fans are going to be there anyway. We could suck. We could be 30 games out of first place by Memorial Day, but the fans will be, which may not be, that may not be fan ass. What the hell am I trying to say? I'm all worked up. That may not be such a fantasy. 30 games out of first place. Well, here's the deal. All right. Let's cut to the chase, okay? So the Mets get Bo Bichette. Fine. Congratulations, Mets. You got Bo Bichette. Big deal. He's going to opt out anyway at the end of the year. Do you think he's really going to stay the 3 years of his contract with the Mets? Really? Nah. He played them like a fiddle, just like he played the Phillies. So he's going to opt out after this year because he's going to get a bigger contract if he has a really good year. If he sucks this year, which we kind of hope he does, the stupid Mets still have to pay him $42 million for the next 2 years. So either way, Bo Bichette is making his. Come on. All right, which is stupid anyway, because it looks like they're going to play Bo Bichette at third base. Bo Bichette can't play third base. What the hell? He's got like a rag doll's arm. He can't throw third base. You're going to see that Mets team is going to have so many errors this year. You got Polanco at first base. He can't play first base. Bichette at third base. He's going to need help getting the ball there. He's going to have to throw the ball to Lindor first, who's then going to have to relay it over to the first baseman. It's not going to be pretty. It's not. Anyway, so what happens after? All right, so the Mets get Bo Bichette. But then we hear the Mets, all of a sudden, their fans were booing them because they weren't doing anything. They get Bichette, and then they trade for this Luis Robert, the center fielder from the White Sox. This Robert guy has been on the table for a long time to be dealt. In fact, the Phillies were even kind of interested in it. He's hurt a lot though. You know, he gets hurt a lot. He's sort of a like a low energy player, you know. I wouldn't call him lazy, but I would say he's I don't know, he doesn't live up to his potential. Okay. So he goes to the Mets. Okay, he'll make them a little better, right? At least they're all in. Looks like the Mets are all in. And then, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Last night, the Mets trade for Freddie Peralta, that star pitcher from the Milwaukee Brewers. Holy Toledo. And I'm like, nah, they didn't really do that, did they? The Mets, they didn't get Freddie Peralta, did they? Did they? Well, it looks like they did. And he's a good pitcher. But he won like 17 games last year from, you know, he always dominates the Phillies too. That's the worst thing. Are we gonna see this guy like 5 times this year? He always like strikes out 8 to 10 Phillies every time he pitches against them. He pretty much holds the Phillies down. So the Mets get their ace. You know, like a week ago, the Mets had nothing. And the New York papers were, the media up there were roasting the Mets. They're like, oh, they have all this money and they're not doing anything with it. You know, they lost Alonso and they're being criticized for that. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Something went off up there and they swooped in and they got Bichette, and that started the domino effect up in New York. Then they get Robert, and now they get Peralta. And who knows who else they're getting. They're even the Pigs. They're even talking about getting more people. Meanwhile, the Phillies, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. The other day, Dave Stupid Dombrowski, our general manager, has a press conference, and he says, well, you know what? We're pretty well content with our team right now. We're content. You know, in other words, we're not doing a damn thing. We're not spending any more money. We're not even going to try. The Mets could do whatever they want to do. The Braves are getting healthier. The Marlins are even doing stuff. The Nationals don't really matter, but look out, who knows? We're just going to sit here and we're not going to do a damn thing for the rest of it because we're quote unquote content with our team. Our team that we rolled back, the same team we signed Kyle Schwarber. Okay, that's great. But it's not like you're adding anything. You already had Kyle Schwarber. They re-signed JT Robitel. Okay, that's great. Even though you panicked after you lost that on Bichette. And all of a sudden, you didn't want to give JT that 3rd year contract. No, we're not giving you 3 years. You're old and your skills are diminished. We're not giving a 35-year-old catcher. We're not giving you that 3rd year. Well, guess what? After they lost Bichette, and Dombrowski calls it a gut punch, he needed a day, poor thing. He needed a day to recover from that before he got his wits about him, and then he was able to move on. So, you know, then all of a sudden, Bichette is gone, and they panic, and they sign JT, and they give him that 3rd year that they were bitching about for a long time. Okay, JT, here, take our money, Here, we'll give you 3 years. Do you want 4 years? We'll give you 4 years. What about 5? You want 5 years? How about 6 years? You could play with the Phillies until you're 58 freaking years old. How about it, JT? So anyway, so they bring back an old lame catcher, and they bring back Schwarber, who, come on, he's not going to hit 56 home runs again, maybe ever. But they bring him back, they throw all this money at him because he's a good guy in the clubhouse. Well, he can't do anything else. He can't play the field. He really can't run the bases anymore. We'll give him all this money just to be a DH. And like, because it's not like we don't have any other people who could play DH. So we'll give you all this money, so we'll run it back. So what's going to happen now, since we didn't do this and we didn't do plan B because there was no plan B, and we panicked and we gave the old catcher a lot of money, well, then we can't do other things. Like Alec Bohm has to stay on the Phillies now, even though we were going to dump his ass because he melts down in the playoffs and he can't do it. He's all nervous and he's all, I can't do it. He can't do it. But we'll keep him anyway. We'll let him play third base where he's mediocre at best, and we'll keep Alec Bohm, okay? We'll keep Bryson Stott. He's a good second baseman, but he really can't hit because he tries to hit home runs too much. He swings too hard, and he thinks he's this Mark McGwire guy, and he's really not. He's a smaller guy. He should be hitting line drives. He should be hitting 300, and he should be leading the league in doubles and triples, not home runs. But we'll keep him in, okay? So there's certain things that we can't do now because we screwed it up before. We were hoping JT would sign because then we could go after a younger catcher. Like Minnesota has a catcher named Ryan Jeffers, who's really good. We were going to try to maybe trade Bohm to Minnesota to get Ryan Jeffers back. We can't do that now. Adley Rushman, we were going to try to get him because Baltimore is up to their freaking necks in catchers. They have this Basilio guy who's like their top prospect. He's a catcher. And they just drafted their first round draft pick last year was a catcher. What are they going to do with all these catchers? So they're not going to need Rushman. So let's get him. All right. He's still relatively young. Let's get Rushman. We'll give them whatever. Alec Bohm, we're trying to trade out all around baseball. Nobody wants him. So anyway, let's get Adley. All right. And if we don't get Adley becomes a free agent after next season. So we'll get him then, right? Why tie ourselves down to an old guy, JT Roboto? Why give him 3 years when we could have other stuff, right? Hey, it's our fault. We traded away all of our catching prospects. Logan O'Hoppe, who was our top prospect, we traded him away for Brandon freaking Walsh. Was it worth it? Even now, the Angels they're sort of disillusioned with Logan O'Hoppe. If we didn't have the old man, like the albatross around our neck, we could possibly swing a deal with the Angels and say, trade us Logan O'Hoppe back to Philadelphia. We'll give you Alec Bohm. Please take Alec Bohm. We're trying to trade him all around the league and nobody freaking wants him. Please take him. The other possibility too was, the Phillies. Oh, by the way, we have this other pitching prospect. His name is Eduardo Tate. And he's only like 19 years old. He's going to be really, really good. But, we can't wait that long. We're going to trade his ass along. We're going to trade him to get Johan Durant, that closer, who's a great closer. He's the tarantula. We can have a light show and we can really make it into like this stupid, goofy thing every time Durant comes in the pitch. We can do that, but what good is a closer if you have no games to close? A closer is only good for a team that may be winning something, like winning the division or the league or even the World Series. Otherwise, a closer is really just a luxury of a team, And you're going to end up using him in the fifth inning just to get him some work because he's not going to have any games to close. So Eduardo Tate goes to Minnesota. They're going to take some time away for this guy. And maybe in 2 to 3 years when he's 22, 23, they're going to bring him up and he's going to be a hell of a catcher for Minnesota for the next 10 to 12 years. Meanwhile, the Phillies are signing old guys with walkers and wheelchairs. And, JT is going to wear one of these life alert things with the button when he falls. Help me, I've fallen and I can't get up. Jesus. So that's where we are right now. The Mets are getting better. Their fans are all hyped up, those dopes up there. Oh, the Mets are there, oh, the Mets. And the media, oh, the Mets, man, that's fine. The thing is, I said yesterday, the Mets could have Bo Bichette. They could have Luis Robert or whatever you call him. But they don't have any pitching. Duh. So what happens? The Mets go out and they trade for Freddie Peralta. Damn. And I said, well, down the Mets have pitching. See, that's the problem, Fred. The Mets are getting better. In fact, I would say the Mets right now would be the favorites to win the National League East. Not the Phillies. The Phillies have the same old draft. In fact, the Phillies are worse off because, did you see that yesterday? Ranger Suarez is in Boston. And he put on his Boston uniform there. And I almost threw up. It was like I was just got eating broccoli or cauliflower. Something that I can't stand. I just vomited all over the place. That's what it was like when I saw our Ranger, he's ours, put on the Boston Red Sox jersey. And I'm like, say it ain't so. And I'm ready to cry. And I'm pouting. And then I see where Ranger and his little buddy there, Scott Boras, his agent, they both were in the front row of the Celtics game last night in Boston. Ranger's like, oh, he's going to be everywhere now. He'll be there with the Patriots playing the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. He'll be there when the Boston Bruins play the next hockey game. He'll be in the front row for every freaking Celtic game. That's like they gotta rub it in your face, Hey, look, we got Ranger. You don't. You were stupid enough to let him go. You're not spending your money on anything else. You could have signed Ranger. You could have. He wanted to come back to Philadelphia. But no. What it was stupid Middleton who says, I want my bleeping trophy back. You do? Well, if you want your bleeping trophy back, then you go all in. You push your chips into the middle of the table and you go all in. Why did you even sign Bryce Harper back into the day? Why? If you're not going to go all in. These guys, they're ready. They're ready for the nursing home in a couple of years, these guys. And your team is old and they're ready. The window is closing. Their opportunity to make the World Series, it may already be closed. And now all of a sudden you start pitching pennies. Oh, we're not going to send Dave Dombrowski down to Tampa to meet with Bo Bichette. because we may want to save that money, the airline, we will, let's save that $200, okay? So that's where we're at right now. I mean, we still have a lot of the off season to go, and the Mets are still looking to improve their team, and the Phillies are sitting back, smoking cigars, eating chocolates, and saying, "Ah, we're content. Yeah, we're content with our team. Yeah, 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 we're content. We're not doing anymore. We do anymore. We might get a hernia. Let's just lay back here and relax and enjoy ourselves. Huh? Let all these other teams work and get better. Huh? Well, you know what? The thing of it is, you can't say, well, they would have lost to the Dodgers anyway. We don't know that. Yeah, right now it looks like nobody's going to beat the Dodgers for the next 18 years. They're that good. But, you can't say that because everything goes year to year. What, God forbid, what happens if Otani falls and breaks a hip? He could, right? He could. You just don't know. You got to take it in from you. But you got to put yourself in that position to compete against the Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? You got to put yourself in that position to do it. And right now, the New York Mets are doing it. They're putting themselves in that position where they want to win the National League East, which guarantees them a playoff spot, guarantees them home field advantage, at least for one round. And it may be the fact that they will eventually play the Dodgers in the playoffs. And if they have a Freddie Peralta pitching maybe 2 games out of the series, and they have a Bo Bichette hitting with Lindor up there in New York, and they have Luis Robert patrolling their center field, we might have a shot against the Dodgers. You never know. We're going to be better off the stinking Philadelphia Phillies who didn't want to invest their time and their money into reshaping this team, even though they knew they had a team full of chokers and losers. You get to the spotlight into the playoffs, and this team freezes. They can't do anything. So while the Phillies are languishing out of the playoffs this year, let's put the Phillies in 4th place in National League East, okay? The Marlins are going to overtake them. They're going to jump them, and the Phillies are going to be just a smidgen better than the Washington Nationals, just a smidge. Meanwhile, you got the Mets winning the division, and the Braves even possibly contending for a wild card spot. And the Phillies are sitting back, still eating chocolates, and saying, "Oh, those were the days back in the day. We almost beat the Dodgers. Remember that time when Ryan Kirkland threw the ball to home plate instead of first base? Remember those days?" So anyway, that's what we have to look forward to after coming off a dreadful Eagles season where the Eagles got booted out of the playoffs in the first round. The reigning world champion Eagles got booted out. The Flyers suck. The Flyers were up 3-0 last night in Utah against the Mammoth, and they end up losing that game in overtime. And then you've got the Sixers, who like to lose every single home game that they ever play. Because Joel Embiid can't play. No. Joel Embiid cannot play back-to-back games. Can't do it. Paul George, you're lucky if you have Paul George playing 1 out of 5 games there. You're giving him, what are you giving him there? $60 million a year or something? So if you can get Paul George to play like maybe 1 out of 5 games, you're lucky. And so yeah, it's worth that $60 million you can pay to Paul George this year. Yeah. So that's where we are in the Philadelphia sports landscape. I just had to come on and vent about these Phillies because they were the reason they were going to give us some hope this year. Because we're going to say, all right, Bryce Harper's pissed off because the general manager said, you're not elite anymore, Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper takes it to heart. And he's wearing a t-shirt while he's in the batting cage there during the off season, sweating his ass off and really trying to get in shape. He's wearing a t-shirt that says, I'm not elite. Just to like prove to himself that he's not elite anymore. Well, we're just hoping that the opposite, like it's reverse psychology, and Bryce Harper all of a sudden turns into the Bryce Harper award. He won 2 MVP awards in the past. But we don't have that Bryce Harper in Philadelphia. We don't get the good Bryce Harper. We get the okay Bryce Harper, who's okay. He's okay, but he's not the most valuable player. We don't get that Bryce Harper. So we were hoping the Phillies would give us a little hope this year, and the Phillies could have had this tail. Think about it. After the Eagles let us down, the Sixers and the Flyers certainly are inspiring a lot of confidence in them. So the Phillies could have had Philadelphia in the palms of their hand right from the start, right from spring training, right all the way through till October. Forget that the Eagles are starting the season in September. The Phillies are so good that they have this region, this Delaware Valley that I live in. The Phillies have it in the palm of their hands. And we're all getting ready for the championship parade in November. But no, it's not meant to be, boys and girls, because the Phillies, they don't want it. They don't want it back. They're not hungry about it, no. Don't listen to John Middleton, all that spin. Don't listen to him. I want my freaking trophy back. No, you don't, John Middleton. You don't want your trophy back that bad. If you wanted it that bad, you would pull out all the stops to make it happen. You don't want it that bad. So the Phillies are going to give you all this spin there for the next couple of weeks. They're going to say, oh, we have a good team. We're running it back, sure, but we like our team. We were right on the cusp of beating the Dodgers next year. And Kyle Schwarber, he's going to hit 70 homes this year. Bryce Harper, after I called him not elite, he's going to come back and he's going to show me that he is. Aaron Nola, all of a sudden, he's going to find magic in his arm and he's going to win 20 games for us. That's what's going to happen. And we're going to have the All-Star game on top of it. Whoa. So there you go. I guess, I wouldn't feel as bad about it because it is only sports. It's not life or death, I wouldn't feel bad about it if the Mets were languishing in the gutter with us, But as I speak, I'm on this podcast now. I don't know what's going on in the world. The Mets may have signed somebody else while I'm talking. We don't know. And that's what pisses you off. Because while the Phillies are stooping down into the gutter, the Mets are getting better. You're going to have those crazy, crazy Met fans come down and take over the Citizens Bank Park this summer. And, rightfully so. They're going to say, we are better than you. We haven't won a World Series since 1986. Isn't that pathetic? But, we're better than you. And what can you say? You gotta say, yeah, you're right, you're right. Well, so, it's going to be a good year because, as I said, I'm going to be down there at the stadium. You don't want you want to go. I know everybody does. The weather will break. We'll be out of this snow crap, and it'll be nice, right? The springtime. Finally, everybody will be able to get outside. We'll be able to go down to the ballpark and enjoy a nice night, a nice day at the ballpark, where we can just relax and forget our problems. Or we can just root our Phillies, right, to another victory. We can have a couple of beers, have something to eat down there, right? And just enjoy ourselves, right? Ah, that's it's good times going to the ballpark, isn't it? Especially when you know that your team is really good. Not anymore. Anyway, um, you know, you're gonna hear us spin. Oh, we're really good. Oh, I think this is going to put us over the hump. This show, we're going to do it. Don't believe it, okay? Phillies, you could still do stuff, all right? Sign Harrison Bader. He gave you a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of determination, excitement. And plus, he is still a good player. You platoon him in left field with Brandon friggin' Marsh. I mean, Marsh is going to need a guy to platoon with him anyway, right-handed hitter. So you signed Harrison Bader. You let him platoon with Marsh in left field. And then you have insurance, just in case Justin Crawford, God forbid, doesn't work out in center field. You slide Bader over to center field. And at least you have a backup plan better than Johan Rojas, who goes into center field and his strength is fielding and he misjudges the ball. Yeah. And you know what else you could do, Phillies? You could, since you lost Ranger Suarez because you dumbasses, you let him walk. Maybe we need some starting pitching help, especially if Zach Wheeler doesn't come back like the Zach Wheeler he was. So in order to protect yourself, maybe you want to go out and make a few trades to get some pitching. Maybe Zach Gallen, that local kid, this Bishop Eustace, somebody, he's still on the market. He's not great, but he used to be okay with Arizona. Why don't you give him a chance, right? At least you have some backup. So you don't have to scramble. What are you going to do? Bring some kid up from the minor leagues, something like junk that you purchased during the offseason. That's what Dave Dombrowski's been like. He's like one of these old guys who goes to the yard sale. You ever see him with the glasses on? And he's going, well, you want $1.50 for this, huh? Nah, I won't give you more than 50 cents. Won't give you more than 50 cents. I'm willing to talk you down, but I'm sorry, as much as I could go is 50 cents. Won't pay $1. Won't do it. Won't do it. Anyway, you know, maybe he'll bring up one of these cheap things that they picked up at a yard sale, one of these cheap broken down pitchers, like Taiwan Walker, you know. And then you're gonna have people say, "Oh, Taiwan Walker, he pitched great last year." No, he didn't. Come on, he's still Taiwan freaking Walker. Don't make him out like he's Sandy Koufax or something, you know. So, you could still do stuff. Sign Harrison Bader, maybe sign Zach Gallen. Maybe he'll play a little better or pitch a little better because he's a local kid. Maybe he needs to sleep in his own bed. Some guys are like that. They can't sleep in a hotel. They need to sleep in their own bed. So you bring them back home again. Mom gives them some home cooked meals there, some spaghetti and meatballs or whatever. And maybe he'll pitch a little bit. Try. At least try. Don't sit there and say, I'm content. Try, for God's sakes, try. Ugh. So the Phillies can, even at this late date, they can improve. They can add on to what they have. They can still trade out both these guys and bring back some useful players. Another third baseman. Maybe you can never have too much pitching. Another relief. Whatever. Dave Dombrowski, hello. Hello, Dave Dombrowski. Earth calling Dave, Earth calling Dave. You can still make this team better. All right. That's it. I just wanted to come on and vent a little bit with you. I hope you agree with a lot of the stuff that I was talking about. I think I'll be back even tomorrow, Thursday. I'll talk about the playoff games. Of course, there's our Eagles play Sunday. NFC Championship game. They're calling for heavy snow during the game. And we always play well in the snow. Remember that time LaShawn McCoy ran for 200 yards in the snow. Of course, he could forget that Saquon Barkley running wild in the snow last year when we played the Rams, right? So the snowstorm doesn't bother me. So Eagles trying to get back to the Super Bowl again, huh? 2 years in a row. I mean, this is their path. It's sort of an easy path. Just win on Sunday and you're back, right? Wait a minute. The Eagles aren't in this NFC Championship game, right? Am I daydreaming? All right. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, Saturday. We'll talk about the championship games on Sunday and whatever else. We'll talk about the next 2 or 3 players that the Mets have signed. Jesus. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And everybody stay safe. Prepare. All the grocery stores are going to be, oh my God, the bread and the eggs, and the milk. You're not going to be able to find any milk or bread and eggs. It's like we're never going to eat again. It's going to be a big snowstorm. We may get 10 inches of snow. But even after that, after the snow melts, there won't be a loaf of bread anything. Because everybody's going to buy all the bread. No eggs. The chickens have stopped laying eggs. They're on strike. So you better buy your eggs and bread and milk now before the storm, because after the storm, you're not going to be able to find them. Whatever. All right, everybody, have fun preparing. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. What can I say? I can't say go Phillies. I can't say go Eagles. I can't say go Sixers or go Flyers. I'm like lost here. What do? I always say that at the end of every podcast, but I'm lost. I don't know what to say. Okay. Jesus. All right. Adios. See you next time.